5 months after Mandy came back home following her affair, it was our 7th wedding anniversary. She asked me what gift I wanted. Thinking about the current gold prices, without looking up, I said, a gold bracelet, something heavy. She tried cautiously, suggesting a more meaningful gift, saying she knew I wasn't someone materialistic. I laughed sarcastically. At my age, if I'm not worshipping money, what should I worship, God? Though she wasn't happy, she was eager to prove her loyalty and bought me a heavy gold bracelet as promised. When I accepted the bracelet, I threw divorce papers in her face. Mandy's eyes widened. Jackson, enough. I've come back. What more do you want? To be fair, Mandy put effort into our anniversary. She prepared a fancy meal and sent our daughter Nina to her grandmother's place. She presented the solid gold bracelet to me like a prize, saying, "Happy anniversary, honey." Pretending to be casual, I checked the hallmark and weight and forced a smile. She finally seemed relieved. But then, I pushed the prepared divorce papers toward her, saying, "I have a gift for you too." She sighed after reading it. Jackson, enough. I've come back. What else do you want? I've shown my loyalty, apologized in front of our parents, bought the gift you wanted, and hardly go out with friends. Isn't that enough? It felt like she thought all the gaps, doubts, and betrayals would vanish the moment I set conditions. She took the step I gave, thinking we were even now. But remembering what she did felt like endless rain in my heart, sticky and damp. The candles on the table flickered, seemingly mocking us as we revisited our ugly past. I didn't speak, just silently pulled up a message on my phone. Jackson, I just found out I have cancer and don't have much time left. Please let us be. From Tommy. 5 months ago, you made your choice, saying Nina and I were the most important people in your life. You just took the wrong path. You didn't commit some crime. Even criminals get a chance to defend themselves in court. Why not let me give you another chance? But I want to ask, how do you plan to explain Tommy? The first time I noticed something off between Mandy and Tommy was in the parking garage. After work, as I parked my car, I saw Mandy changing a spare tire on an electric car. By her side was Tommy. It was June, and the summer heat felt like a furnace. Her sweat was dripping down her neck. Tommy wiped her forehead with a tissue, and after the tire was changed, she excitedly showed him how capable she was. I couldn't tell if Mandy was naive or just confident. There was nothing improper about being so openly friendly with him. The two shared a conspiratorial smile, that special kind of connection you see in people in the early stages of something new. After they changed the tire, maybe it was too hot, they got into the backseat of the car, started the engine, and turned on the AC. I could see through the windshield that he gently brushed her hair aside. I tried to remember Tommy, realizing we'd crossed paths before. Once, in the elevator, he was well dressed from head to toe. Beside him, a petite girl tugged at his coat, calling out for her father with grimy hands. Another older man stood awkwardly, at a loss. At their feet was a bag full of cabbages. The contrast between Tommy and the older man and girl was stark. I couldn't help but look, wondering if I was being too intrusive. The girl's cries were loud enough that Nina looked upset. She quietly asked me if she could give the girl a lollipop. Not wanting to dampen her kindness, I encouraged her to share it. Nina took one out and handed it to the girl. "Don't cry. Here's a candy." But before she could finish, Tommy slapped it out of Nina's hand, roughly turning the girl away so she couldn't see us. He looked me up and down with contempt, letting out a dismissive snort. Maybe I was naive, but even then I wondered if we were overstepping. Some parents are strict, no candy, no strangers. I whispered to Nina that maybe the man didn't allow sweets and she could keep her candy. The older man looked awkward, evidently a straightforward farmer with a red checkered scarf uncommon in our area. He hastily said he was Tommy's father, pulling out a cabbage from the bag, insisting I take it. Tommy snapped at his dad. "Don't embarrass us. They won't care about your stuff." He never once looked at me properly, and I couldn't understand why. That evening, I told Mandy, "Some odd guy on the 13th floor gave me a cabbage." She paused, interrupting before I finished. "Don't associate with anyone from the 13th floor." She tapped her head. "The guy's divorced, and a bit off." I asked how she knew. Neighbors, she casually brushed it off. It seemed so natural I couldn't find a fault then. Piecing everything together, I belatedly realized that Tommy's bizarre hostility stemmed from somewhere deep personal. At 9 p.m., Mandy came home, freshly showered, bringing in a scent of camellias, a smell foreign to our house, and changed into her spare car clothes. Thoughts surged. When did it start with him? How far along were they? Did our marriage even mean anything now? If I get divorced, what's going to happen to my daughter? She's so little. She shouldn't have to deal with the fallout of adult problems. Mandy and I went from being college sweethearts to husband and wife. She was the one who chased after me. When I agreed to her proposal, she gently put the ring on my finger and lovingly said, "Jackson, I feel like I have the whole world now." Looking back, that time was like a dream. Once our daughter was born, Mandy slowly became hands-off. During her postpartum period, her mom came to help with the baby, and Mandy acted like she had nothing to do with anything. She'd ignore the baby crying altogether. That's when I first thought about getting a car. I'm someone with a lot of pride, and if I hit a wall with her once, I'd find a way around it next time. When I brought it up, Mandy didn't outright refuse. She just gently said she disagreed. Let's wait. We just had a daughter, and there are so many expenses now. Once we're better off, I promise I'll buy you a nice car. But that year, around New Year's, she went out with friends to look at cars, and without telling me, she traded in her car and put some money down to get an SUV. Our car was barely 2 months old, practically new. I had no idea what she was thinking. I got mad at her for the first time. Initially, she patiently explained, "This car is too small. It's inconvenient for long trips. And with the kid getting older, SUV has more space for picnics and traveling." But then it turned into, "It's my money. Why should I need your permission to get a new car?" I've long since given up on relying on her. Years later, I scraped together enough money to buy a second-hand car. Over the years, we've had some squabbles over little household matters, but I saw those as part of life and tried to cope. I tried convincing myself that we've become too familiar, like my own two hands. Fingernails inevitably scratch the skin. I started to see her more as family than a lover. Ironically, the closest person knows where to stab you to make it hurt the most. Life felt blurry and foggy, like I was walking alone through the mist without an exit. I pushed down all my anxious thoughts, never verifying anything with her, but I noticed every slight action and expression she made. Finally, the stress got to me and I fell ill. Half conscious, I felt a hand on my forehead. "You're burning up, you have a fever." Mandy's voice woke me. I opened my eyes to a terrible headache. She helped me up, got me some water, and held my shoulder. I flinched away like I was shocked, and she thought I was delirious from the fever. "Wait for me. I'll go get you some fever medicine." Her phone rang at the worst moment. She glanced at it and pressed decline in a hurry. As the door was closing, I overheard her on the phone saying, "It won't work today. He's sick." That was my breaking point. Quickly put on my shoes and followed. My heart was dropping with each floor the elevator descended, and at the number 13, I felt completely shattered. After about 15 minutes, the elevator started moving down. I thought I heard Mandy and Tommy's voices. I was desperate and hit the button for the other elevator. Luckily, it was coming down at that moment. When I reached the first floor, Mandy was nowhere in sight. I ran to the parking garage, but her car was already gone. In the dim garage, I felt like a frantic ant on a hot plate. Forget dignity and decorum. I wanted to uncover their dirty secret. Time was ticking away with no leads. Then, like a flash of inspiration, I remembered the app One registered when Mandy got her new car. Could track the vehicle. I had deleted it since I'd never driven her car. Rushing to a nearby hotel based on the location, I showed my marriage certificate to the front desk guy. He politely refused. "I'm sorry, but we can't share guest information." I held his hand, my voice cracking. "Please, help me." The guy kept a polite smile but said, "I'm really sorry." That instant, I felt his hand give mine a gentle squeeze. A soft protest. "Please, sir, don't hold on to me or look at my screen. We have to keep guest info confidential." But the screen showed Mandy's check in record. I let go of his hand and nodded in silent thanks. A security guard muttered to himself, "Time for rounds." He quickly swiped open the elevator for me. Upstairs, he walked to the other end of the hall but gave me a reassuring nod. I pretended to be room service with a complimentary fruit platter. They opened the door without thinking. Mandy almost lost her balance in shock when our eyes met. She was bare-chested, probably before anything major happened. Tommy kept a calm, embarrassed look, covering himself with a corner of the sheet. I couldn't help but laugh in anger and yanked the sheet off Tommy. The scene spiraled out of control. His eyes filled with tears, but all I felt was disgust. I slapped Mandy with all my strength. "Is this what you mean by getting me medicine? Medicine in a hotel? What a joke." Tommy grabbed a towel, wrapping himself, standing between us. His tone was different from the elevator, more subdued and soft. "It's my fault. Blame me. Don't take it out on Mandy." They stood so close together, with unspoken feelings between them. Mandy stepped forward. "Don't be mad. It's my fault. Come home with me, let me explain." Watching her lips move, time felt stretched, and everything became surreal. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital with Mandy, eyes red, half kneeling in front of me. My parents and my mother-in-law were there too. Mandy probably tried to show her stance, telling both of our parents what happened but in a downplayed way, leaving me no chance to defend myself. The elders started to persuade me. "Jackson, what Mandy did was wrong, and as her mom, I'm not taking her side. If you're mad, let it out, or if you want some compensation, we agree. But please, for the sake of the child, don't say divorce lightly." She then apologized to my folks, saying, "I'm really sorry for raising such a rebellious daughter. It must be hard for you. I know you love Jackson, and I do too. Don't worry, once I get home, she'll have a real talking to." Her smooth, comprehensive words left my parents speechless. My mom just kept wiping her tears. I said, "That day, when you suddenly suggested Nina stay with me for a few days, I didn't realize something big had happened at home. Jackson, though this is Mandy's fault, please give her another chance for the sake of Nina." Even though my mother-in-law spoke nicely, deep down, she still sided with her daughter. My parents were hurting for me, but the road to divorce isn't easy. Who can I blame? I stared blankly at the ceiling, feeling like my mind was a tangled mess. I didn't respond at all. The long silence made everyone think I had moved past it. To prove her commitment, Mandy deleted Tommy's contact in front of all of us and stayed home daily, making different delicious meals for me. As for Tommy, my mother-in-law stepped in to persuade him to move out of our neighborhood. This seemed to be the end of it. Time really helps. From being indifferent right after leaving the hospital and avoiding talking to Mandy, I slowly began to let go of the past and calmly discuss with her what to eat for dinner. Eventually, I could even smile and chat with her over meals. But when she got close, it felt like ants crawling all over me, bringing back memories, making me resist. She didn't push me. She said she'd give me time. I knew she was waiting for a turning point. Our anniversary was approaching, but only I knew I never truly let it go. I wasn't willing to accept it. Our anniversary was carefully arranged by her. For a romantic atmosphere, the main lights were out, with rose petals scattered on the floor. Dim wall lamps cast a shadowy glow on her face. Mandy, pained, held her head in thought for a long time, then took a step towards me, pleading in a low voice, "Let me explain. A month ago, he reached out, saying there was an issue with his daughter's school, needing my help since I had informed people when his daughter last transferred schools. Really, it was just that one meeting and we stopped contacting after. So, you used that chance for one last fling?" I said. She shrugged nonchalantly, "Don't make it sound so ugly. His kid could never be mine." A long-suppressed mix of resentment and injustice was now overshadowed by anger, making me laugh coldly. A chilling voice squeezed out through my teeth. "I thought you were more devoted than that. Shows how wrong I've been all these years." She finally got mad, stepped toward me, and retorted sharply, "And how great are you?" All this time forcing a marital property split deal, hinting it's for our daughter's future but also aiming for the bracelet. Yet keeping a proud stance, refusing to bow down just a little. Jackson, this has been long enough. I've had it with you. Two people who met in their prime ended up becoming what they resented in each other. Blood spilt. Her hand, like a slippery water snake, climbed up my arm. I didn't know her intent and instinctively dodged. The next second, I felt her hand slide from my shoulder to my wrist, and before I reacted, one hand gripped mine tightly as the other snatched the bracelet back. You want a divorce, right? Then give back the bracelet. Is it that fun to plot against me? Not thinking, I grabbed a vase from the table and smashed it over her head. With a loud crash of shattering ceramic, the world went silent. She collapsed, sitting on the ground with a big thud, wiped the blood from her mouth, and spat out defiantly, "In that case, I'd rather die than divorce you." A chill ran through my spine. Unsure if my actions would lead to a devastating outcome, I quickly calmed myself down, pulling out a chair beside the dining table, gasping heavily. Mandy, with a triumphant look, seemed to mock me openly. She might not love me, but she could keep me tied to her side. But in the next second, I propped my leg up, nudging her chin with my toes, looking down on her. Fine, no divorce, but that uncut video will soon be sent to your family and friends. Her eyes widened in shock. How do you have a video? Around the time I accidentally found out about their secret in the parking garage, there was one night I woke up suddenly. Feeling the empty spot beside me, I noticed the restroom light was on, and odd moaning noises reached my ears. I listened intently, noticing as the male voice got more brazen. Mandy let out a satisfied sigh. It felt like electricity ran through me. Panic surged like a wave. A strange suspicion tore through my brain. When Mandy came back, I pretended to be asleep, not exposing her. I kept a half eye open until dawn. When Mandy was deeply asleep, I quietly took her phone, scrolled through it thoroughly, and found 8 months' worth of conversations on a secondary account with Tommy, along with several videos saved on cloud storage. Mandy and Tommy entangled like a noose, showing how inseparable they were, like conjoined twins in various places. My head felt like it was exploding. Uncontainable rage crashed through my veins, and my heart felt like it was teetering on a knife's edge, each beat causing unbearable pain. I always thought Mandy was a really straightforward person. Her routine was predictable: home, work, home again. She helped our daughter with homework and had a clean circle of friends. I could practically know who she was with every day without even needing to check. I never imagined that behind her seemingly righteous facade was a beast driven by ambition and strange desires. I wandered into the kitchen like a zombie and grabbed a kitchen knife, thinking I wanted to split her head open and toss her brain into a blender. But suddenly, behind me, Nina, my daughter, rubbed her sleepy eyes and asked, "Daddy, what time is it? Am I late?" The knife clattered to the ground, snapping me back to reality. "No, Nina, go lie down a bit longer. It's not time yet. I'll wake you soon," I said, holding back my emotions and softly reassuring her. Mandy, now awake, mumbled, asking what happened. "I misread the time," I replied coldly. It was 5:30 in the morning, the night nearly gone, and in an hour, the sun would rise, signaling a new day. But I knew my inner sun would never rise again. I contacted a lawyer right away. To my surprise, it was a much younger guy. After I told him everything, without even blinking, he firmly stated, "Jackson, your wife's infidelity only proves she's unfaithful in marriage, not a reason for you to gain benefits. Unless she's cohabiting long-term with someone else." Quickly pulled out my phone. I had evidence. Lawyer Wong's expression changed upon seeing the videos. He'd handled many cases and seen all kinds of women, but never one as foolish as Mandy, practically shooting herself in the foot. "Jackson," he cautioned, "videos downloaded from someone else's phone can't be used as court evidence. Be careful not to bring trouble upon yourself." The sky turned eerily dark. A storm seemed to be brewing. "Don't share, don't spread, don't speak. That's your last card," he whispered. This incident planted itself like a seed deep within me. Even when I woke up in the hospital feeling utterly devastated, I never shared a word about it with anyone. Following his advice, I leveraged Mandy's guilt to make her sign a marital property agreement in front of the entire family, ensuring my rights with the condition that we wouldn't divorce. The divorce went smoothly, except for a minor hiccup when Mandy moved out. In the studies cabinet, where we stored the trophies and certificates from our college days, I found my old construction certificate. Nina had ripped the page with my photo when she was little, leaving only my hopeful, clear-eyed expression barely visible. It was unfortunate. I had stubbornly believed that nurturing a good marriage would lead to a flourishing life. So I gave up a high-paying industry job to work in real estate sales for a steady paycheck, dedicating more time to family. Colleagues often joked that I was overqualified, but back then, nothing seemed better than having a loving wife and adorable daughter. Then Tommy showed up, finally able to taunt me in front of Mandy. "Jackson," he mocked, "you ought to take better care of yourself. We're about the same age, yet you look years older. No wonder Mandy's not into you." He nudged the packed boxes with his foot. "When are you moving out? Found a place yet? Oh, I forgot, you're in real estate. You wouldn't be making excuses about not finding a house to cling to Mandy, would you?" He acted like he owned the place, casually sipping water on the couch. "I don't like this curtain color. Needs changing. The sofa's too soft, too. I prefer firm seats." Mandy appeared with a large suitcase full of clutter. As she tried to lift it, the bottom ripped open, spilling everything. Tommy looked and finally realized what was happening. "Mandy, you're the one moving out?" he asked, shocked. "Why'd you give him the house?" Standing up, he stomped and pointed his finger at me. I grabbed his hand. "Because she owes me," I said, taking the cup from him and tossing it into the trash. "Unlike you, I don't use second-hand goods. I find it dirty." "Tommy, need help finding a place?" "I am, as you said, a professional," I added. After throwing out all the junk, my heart felt completely empty. This farce ended in the most disgraceful way. I seemed to have one, but inside, it was like there were thousands of holes. Nina was too young to know what our divorce meant. She kept asking, "When's Mommy coming back?" I finally explained firmly, "Mommy won't return. Dad and Mom got divorced, kinda like when you argue at preschool. We had disagreements. Mommy made her choice and I have a life too. Stick around with Dad, okay?" In her sweet, innocent voice, Nina agreed. "Okay, I'll stay with Daddy forever." Unexpectedly, Jessica, my sister, was the first to visit post-divorce. She'd been married for less than 6 months. Her husband's family was wealthy, pampering him since birth, so he was a bit spoiled. My mom often complained he was hard to please. So, outside of being a dutiful brother, I hadn't bonded much with them. Jessica showed up a bit out of breath. "Why didn't anyone tell me about such a big deal?" she said angrily after opening the door. "Mom worried your divorce might affect us negatively. But really, in this day and age, does anyone still think divorce is such a big deal? Do you all really see me as that petty?" I never expected that in this quiet and unnoticed time, the first person to bring warmth to me would be my little sister. I've already discussed with Henry that we're not planning to have kids for now. For these few years, let Mom fully focus on taking care of Nina. I believe with the love of grandparents and aunts, Nina will grow up healthy both mentally and physically. As for you, just do what you want to do. We're here to support you all the way. Sunlight breaks through the clouds and casts a dappled pattern through the glass window. Even the smallest specks of dust are clear in the light. Even the dust in this world comes alive to dance and sing when the sun rises. All the dead ends hide paths with unexpected turns. After deciding to revisit my old profession and do what I'm good at, my college buddy Frank invited me to join him. He worked at a reputable architecture firm for years, and after building some capital and connections, he's ready to start his own business. After some deliberation, he approached me. "Jackson, come help me. I need reliable people." I was honest with him. I lack experience and have been disconnected from the industry for too long. He suddenly laughed, his smile reaching his eyes, twinkling like stars and shining like pearls. "If you miss the sunrise at 5 in the morning, you can always watch the sunset at 6 in the evening. What I mean is, it's never too late to start. If you start preparing now, you can still make it to this year's exams." Without much thought, I began frantically preparing for the exams. Strangely enough, I thought it would take a lot of effort. But when I picked up the books again, the once complicated stuff seemed to come alive in my mind. I'm actually grateful that I didn't leave this field for too long. Although I was in real estate sales, I always had to deal with construction. In the quiet times, the long, lit nights were preparing me to shine. Mandy reached out, saying she wanted to see Nina. After thinking a bit, I agreed, but on conditions. She could only take Nina out to public places, and my sister had to follow at a safe distance. Mandy seemed resigned. Really, Jackson? Are you guarding against me this much? I didn't stop taking notes and responded in a neutral tone. I mean it, for Nina's safety. That evening, when Mandy insisted I come down to pick Nina up, it had been a while since we'd met. Her once vibrant face showed signs of aging, like she'd aged 10 years overnight. She hid her face deep in her hat and mask, speaking with regret. Jackson, I feel like I had a long dream. In it, we were still how we first met. But upon waking, I realized everything is beyond return. I wasn't there to listen to her say pointless things, so I turned to leave. Tommy suddenly appeared from nowhere, glaring at her, an entirely different person from the past. He grabbed one of her ears. I asked you to come with me for a checkup today, and you said you didn't have time. But you were with your daughter and even took time to reminisce with your ex-husband. All you care about is your daughter. How have you ever even considered me? You're just plain embarrassing. The two of them finally left after tugging at each other. My sister emerged from behind the trash can, exhaling a sigh of relief. Those two crazies finally left. Hurry up and let's go upstairs. That night, Tommy and Mandy had a massive fight. I only heard the whole story afterwards from a distant cousin of my mother-in-law, who told my mom. I once thought their love was so faithful, but now it seems it was just a transaction of benefits. When Tommy didn't get what he wanted, of course, he'd want to burn every bridge. The situation at Mandy's house got so bad that her mom had to dip into her retirement savings to calm Tommy down. Mandy was left with nothing, mixed up with some new drinking buddies. She spent her days drinking with them until she was wasted. One night she drank herself unconscious, abandoned in an alley by her so-called friends. Spring in the north can be deceptive, warming up only to drop below freezing at night. She drank so much, she ended up with a stroke. A passerby took her to the hospital. The doctors saved her life, but she'll likely be paralyzed for life. Meanwhile, I passed my exams successfully and joined Frank's firm. From scratch, from the ground up, thanks to the contacts I made working in real estate, we gained our first stable clients, building a solid foundation. Now I can take care of Nina on my own. Except for some occasions when my mom helps out, I can bring her to work with me. She gets along great with Frank's daughter, who's just a year apart from Nina. They talk a lot, and even Nina's homework is something they manage together. The money from the divorce I split into deposits and investments. I earn enough to cover daily expenses for Nina and me. I'll always be grateful for a partner like Frank, who's like the sun, drying up all my struggles and making all the little things matter. Frank tells me, it's not because others are good to you that you do well. It's because you're inherently capable. I've been through ups and downs and finally realize everyone makes poor choices. We may cry unexpectedly or break down in the street, but it doesn't stop us from watching the sunsets and loving this world all over again.